Hi, I'm Michael Knight. Welcome to My Pro. Again, joining me today is Stacy Elfar.
Hello.
This is a very strong point. If you have not gotten through the vintage progression and you have confidence in it, do not come near this part. Again, it's going to be very similar to the vintage progression, but now we're going to put a kettlebell in your hand. So don't freak out. It's 3 easy moves. We're going to revisit the Turkish get-up using a different tool. So if you don't feel comfortable doing a Turkish get-up with the kettlebell, remember, it's just a tool. You can use a rock, a board, you can use anything, a shoe. Don't get caught up with the tool. So Stacy's gonna go back down in our starting position, the fetal position, and here it is, the kettlebell Turkish get-up. So, again, she's gonna start in that fetal position, tucking her left hand, her right hand underneath the kettlebell, the side she's gonna come up with. She cups it. She's in the fetal position. She's going to turn over in the fetal position. Take the hand up a 2, and again, go back into it. Now, the big thing around here, again, same thing with the vintage. Let's make sure that the wrist is straight and locked, because watch what happens when her wrist goes from the locked position and she just lets a little slack. The tension starts to go into her elbow and it'll radiate down. Now, with a light kettlebell, which most of you will use, you won't even notice it, but I will. Again, lock the wrist and we're ready to go. Same setup as the vintage. She drives in, up on her elbow, up on her hand, sweeps in, pauses, and now her eyes go forward. She stands up, locks out. To reverse it, arm is locked, eye goes up, foot sweeps, and comes down. Good. Now, take your shoes off. If you don't think I'm serious about what I'm doing, watch what we're going to do with Stacy. I'm throwing her a curveball right now. So I want Stacy to take her shoe, make a fist. Not the fist with the little funny thumb coming out. So she's going to place the shoe on and now be strict and pay close attention to her movements because I'm not going to slow her down. Go ahead, Stacy. Perfect form, go slow. The slower you go, the better off you're going to be. The slower you go, the better off you're going to be. And very good. So, before you even put a vintage in your hand, before you put a kettlebell in your hand, put the shoe, close the hand, and come up. And if that shoe falls, you're not ready for the vintage, you're not ready for the kettlebell, and you're not ready for me. Go do your homework. Okay, the second exercise in this exercise tutorial is the goblet squat. All we're doing is switching out the vintage dumbbell for a kettlebell. Stacy is joining me again from the Brickyard, is going to demonstrate the technique. If you will, Stacy. She's going to bring it up, hold it on the sides, of which we call the horns, which are the sides. She's going to come down that neutral spine, nice and tight, strong, and drive out. And she'll come down again, stop, and drive out. You can notice her head and her hips are moving at the same time. Come on down. They both go together. Up. Perfect form. I'll set that down. Now, Stacy's pretty strong, and she's kind of giving you that little sound. Now, watch as the kettlebell, which adds a little bit more stability to the core, makes your core work a little bit harder. Watch how hard she's going to have to really engage now to come out of that bottom. So now we've gone up to a 44-pound kettlebell. Don't get caught up with the weight. It's the movement first. If form breaks, I'll take it out of her hands. She comes up, she goes down, stops. Good. Now watch. I want you to run a little bit louder for me, Stacy. Let's see if she comes out of that ground a little bit harder. Good. One more. Good. And good. The third one, you can see she came out a little bit harder. It's hard for women to grasp a guy to grunt, because when you're in a gym and the guy's grunting, you're thinking, God, is that guy ever going to stop? It will help you. And I'm really going to prove it, because now we're going to move her up to a 62-pound kettlebell, if you will. She's just going to do a couple. She's very strong. And remember, that's why you notice that there's no numbers on these. Don't get caught up with the weights. No one cares. No one cares, okay? So she's going to powerfully pick it up, set herself up. And real tight, comes down, stops, and up. Give me a real big one this time, Stace. Up. Good. And set down. And you can see the technique. Head, hips are in line. They're coming up in one piece. Always think when I squat, ask yourself, weight in the heels, down slow, neutral spine, apple on my head. Look in the mirror to make sure all those things are in a line and not moving when you come up. So that's the goblet squat, and it will show up from the exercise tutorial over into your circuit tutorials coming soon.
And girls, you may feel stupid grunting, but let me tell you, it'll help you out a lot.
I'm Michael Knight with Stacy Alfar from iPro. See you soon.